Hello everyone, welcome to Michigan Man MTG, and we're back for the final day of Avatar previews. So we got a few cards to talk about today, but before we do, remember to like and subscribe to get further content like this throughout Avatar season and beyond. And I will remind you also that I'm going to be doing some videos of what I feel are the best mythics, rares, and uncommons from the set for standard. So let's dive into today's previews. So first we've got Sandbender Scavengers for a white and a black mana. You get a human rogue, that's a 1/1. And whenever you sacrifice another permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. When this creature dies, you may exile it. When you do, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to this creature's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I think this is a card that almost instantaneously goes into the Orzhov Sacrifice deck as a couple copies. And the reason for that is if you can get it to 3 power, then you're going to be able to get Sephiroth back from the graveyard if your opponent's able to kill Sephiroth. And I think that's going to make this very playable in Standard. Next, we've got Hakoda, Selfless Commander for 3 and a white mana. You get a legendary creature that's a human warrior ally and is a 3/5 with Vigilance. And you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast ally spells from the top of your library, and you can sacrifice Hakoda, and creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain indestructible until the end of the turn. So very powerful card here. I think this is going to be one of the top end cards in our ally deck. A, you're going to be able to always know what's on the top of your library, but B, every time you have a ally on the top, you can then cast that spell, and basically that's free card draw when Hakoda's on the battlefield. And because of that, I think it's got to go in the ally deck. Next, we've got Wartime Protesters for 3 and a red mana. You get a human rebel ally. That's a 4/4 with haste. And whenever another ally you control enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, and it gains haste until end of turn. Again, this is another card I think is going to be bonkers in the ally deck. The ability to give everything haste and that +1/+1 counter, I think, is going to be really what potentially breaks that deck and makes it a real player in Standard. All right, looking to some lower rarity cards for the day. Our first is Waterbending Scroll for 1 and a blue mana. You get an artifact, and you can tap it and pay 6 mana, and you can draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each island you control. So by the time you're playing this, probably you've got 1 or 2 islands already on the field, so you're going to need it down to 4. And then by the mid to late game, if you're playing it in a deck that is blue based, you probably won't have much difficulty getting this down to, almost no mana at all. And I can see situations where you're literally just tapping this and getting a card. So very, very powerful artifact that is definitely going to see Standard play. Next, we've got Zuko's Conviction. For a black mana, you get an instant with kicker of 4, and you get to return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If the spell was kicked, instead put that card onto the battlefield tapped. So reanimation spell in black, 5 mana to do it. Certainly playable. In limited, I think it'll be a very good card. You'll be able to get your best card from your graveyard, put it back in your hand at least, and then if you are able to kick it, then you get to put it right back on the battlefield. And because of that, I think in limited it's going to be a good card, and it has an outside chance of seeing some Standard play. And our last card of the day is Team Avatar for 2 and a white mana. You get an enchantment, and whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. And for 2 and a white mana, you can discard this card. It deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature. So I think this is a card that has an outside chance of seeing a little bit of Standard play because of the flexibility on it. It could be a removal spell in some cases, or it could be a spell that's just boosting your best creature, hopefully something that has trample. And because of that, I see there's baseline for this of having a little bit of standard playability. All right, our last card of the day is Firebending Lesson. For a red mana, you get an instant, that's a lesson, and you can kick it for 4. And Firebending Lesson deals 2 damage to target creature. If the spell was kicked, it deals 5 damage to that creature instead. So again, limited removal card, and it will be a good one in the limited environment because you'll be able to kill things that are 5 toughness late in the game. All right, those are our avatar previews. Thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I will be back with preview videos early next week. Thanks. I will see you in the next one.